Welcome to Next Steps, a podcast from Blackhawk Church. We believe that following Jesus is a lifelong journey, so no matter where you're at, there's always a next step to take. Each week on this podcast, we'll create space for real conversations about the questions we wrestle with, the challenges we face, and the hope we find in Jesus. Our goal isn't to have it all perfectly figured out, but to walk faithfully towards Jesus together. We're so glad you're joining us. Let's dive in.
Well, hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Next Steps podcast. Today, I have with me two fantastic people who I love so much. We are doing a behind-the-scenes episode today all about college ministry and interns. So we're excited to have Michael and Grace with us today. So thanks, you guys, for joining.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
It's going to be here.
Exciting. Yeah,
So
it's
fun.
So good.
One of my favorite people. Okay. All right. Well, I want to jump right into all the things that are going on in the life of ministry, because every time I hear about things in college ministry, I'm just like amazed at how God is at work, and just it's so encouraging what I hear from you guys about what's going on. And so would love to just start out by telling us a little bit about college ministry here at Blackhawk.
Yeah, definitely. Do you want to start, Grace?
Sure, I'll start.
Yeah, you start.
Yeah, so college ministry is super fun. We're kind of like an umbrella of like a central team. So that just means we are at all sites. There's college students at all sites. But kind of our main thing we do is called Tuesday nights. So every Tuesday we put on a ministry night. There's worship, there's a message, great time to hang out with people, snacks afterwards. And that's where we really see just a lot of our college students engage with college ministry. It's such a fun ministry. So yeah, I would say that's majority of what we do. And then we have community groups. So we have college age community groups that meet like throughout the whole week, and that college students lead them, have a bunch of students in them. So it's a super great way for like a big ministry to feel small in the group setting.
Yeah, and with that, there are different events that we'll do. Fall retreat, Passion Conference, mission trip for Alaska. We just kind of closed the registration process for that, and we're really excited about the team that God's put together, and just different fun events, random events. A lot of our leaders went to Picnic Point.
Yeah, I was going to say just a little bonfire worship night
little
the other
bonfire.
night.
There's a raccoon that was with them. I don't know.
Yeah.
It looked like fun, though. Yeah.
Worshiping with
Worshiping with the
A little too
raccoon.
cold for me, but
Yeah, well, that's so fun. So what does like a normal week look like for you two?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because sometimes people think people in ministry, it's like, do you only just do your Tuesday night thing? You know, that's all you're doing is preparing for that.
That's it.
We actually don't do anything. We just have coffee with students.
Yeah.
And no, that's a really great question. So in order for, so Grace and I, we hold a couple different like clipboards or wear a couple different hats. As you mentioned in the intro, we oversee college ministry for all of Blackhawk Church. And like Grace said, a lot of that is functional through our Tuesday night gathering, but also there are different college students who either aren't in a different college ministry, or they are in a different college ministry that isn't Tuesday nights, like Crew or Salt or something like that, but they still come to one of our campuses. So we are the college ministry for every college student. So if someone doesn't come to Tuesday nights, we still want to be their church in a ministry that's pursuing them. So with that, we have the different events that I mentioned. We have different community groups, but also our sites and venues, we are geared towards welcoming and teaching and coming alongside the college student. It's one of our 6 distinctives as Blackhawk, which makes us distinctly us. We have the university. And so a lot of our time, part of our time is spent thinking about them, and then thinking about Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights, we have a couple hundred students, around 200 that'll come, kind of on the top end right now. And with that, we have teaching, we have worship, we have tech, we have our what we call connect leaders, which is kind of like welcome leaders on steroids in a way. And we have setup and tear down. All of that is volunteer run. We have about 30 volunteers that help just our connect leaders to connect with all of the students that come. And then all of our worship tech, you name it. It's all volunteers. So we want to, as much as we can, pursue our volunteers and pour into them and just come alongside whatever they're going through, but also help train them and, show them what it looks like to have a successful ministry event. So that takes a lot of our time, like snacks and all of that, writing messages each week. That takes a lot of my time. And then we also are on the downtown team. So on Sundays, most Sundays, Grace and I will be there either hosting or helping welcome or pursuing college students.
Because isn't it about 50%? Is that right? 50% of downtown are college students.
Yeah, I would say specifically, like we have a 9 a.m. service and then our 10:45. Like a lot of students come to that one, which is fun.
Exactly. And so we, during the week we'll have meetings just to prepare for downtown, and then we also have just our different teams that we're on. Like I'm on the teaching team, management team. Grace is on different teams. So we meet a lot of teams. And then we also lead our internship program that's not just for college ministry, but for all of Blackhawk. And so that's a lot of just kind of structural, different guidelines that we're creating with our HR team and implementing and coming alongside different ministries who have interns. And we have college interns ourselves. We have 8 interns right now for college ministry, which is really, really exciting. So we have a lot of plates spinning.
Yeah, you do.
And so.
Yeah, I would say it's been really fun in the last maybe year and a half, like that our the load of what interns looks like, and that part of my job and your job has become a lot more just because the intern program is growing, which has been really so cool, but also adds more to our plates.
That's more to our plates.
One of the things I love about the intern program, right, is it's for a variety of people, but particularly for those who are just exploring what it looks like to spend more time doing ministry, right? I mean, I know some of them don't have plans to go to seminary, or some of them don't feel like they are going to, and then they get the bug, and then they feel the calling, and then they change their plans, which I think is really a cool, just a cool opportunity that you guys give to people who are interested in that.
Yeah, what we've noticed, so a few years ago, we made a switch when it comes to the type of intern that we were hoping to apply and just to be a part of the program. Before, it was people who were seriously considering a full-time vocational ministry. But when we were thinking about our own lives and our own kind of future projections, we didn't know we wanted to be in ministry in college at all. But we loved going to ministry in college. And it was through that experience and going to church on Sundays that God kind of like tugged our hearts into becoming, where we're at right now, working in full-time ministry. So we thought, hey, what if we just had anyone who was interested in taking that next step in a certain ministry, what would it look like to be interested in becoming an intern? And what we've seen over the last 2 years, I don't know if this is true, but someone said about 90% of the people who have gone through our internship program are now seriously considering or being active in applying to different seminaries and stuff. Cool. So God is, we don't say that about what we're doing, but it's really cool to actually tangibly see the Holy Spirit at work in people's lives. And we're seeing that right now through the internship program.
Yeah, and it's crazy. I mean, like the type of interns we're getting are like so qualified in other ways, like PhDs, going to med school, and like those are great things, but then all of a sudden just to see this life change of just getting the bug and getting hooked on ministry, and they just completely want to turn their lives, which is crazy.
It's like one of the bigger conversations. If you're not in the church world, you probably don't know this, but the future of church leaders and church pastors, there's what people would say is like, it's not looking great in the way that so many people are retiring. COVID, a lot of people stepped out of ministry. Seminary is so expensive. You don't get paid great, being in ministry vocationally. And so we've seen a sharp decline, right? Seminaries are closing, different things. And so around the country, people have been praying for a couple of years that God would call a new generation of pastors and ministry leaders to lead the church here in the U.S. And so it's cool to see just a little tiny piece of how God might be doing that. through the internship
Exactly.
program. So, yeah. Okay, so I would love for you all to share, because so many people don't know much about college ministry. They don't know what God's doing in college ministry. So I wondered if, like, bird's eye view, how would you describe how God is moving in college ministry?
Yeah, that's a great question. I feel like, so it's really cool for me because I actually was in college ministry all of my college.
I remember freshman Grace.
I remember freshman year too.
Silly.
Yeah.
We loved her.
We loved freshman
We loved her.
Grace.
She's grown. But so I like really have had the privilege of seeing the ministry just completely change since when I've been in it as a student, and like some of those years were COVID, so like things shifted in that way. But I will say the thing, like just the one, if I could use like one word to describe like what shifted, is it's so many people who have no church background coming into the church and being so curious and asking great questions and just really diving in and wanting to know more, but like, I don't know, have no basis of like the Bible, didn't grow up in it. And so we are just seeing like a shift in how we approach ministry with those people coming through the door. And it's been super exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know when the shift happened, but like a year or two ago, maybe it was a slow shift to this current year of ministry that we're in. Man, I'll have different people who would go to college ministry or interns. They'd say like, "Oh man, I invited my dorm mates or my roommate or something like that. They've literally never been to church before, and I'm so excited that they get to come." And I'll be like, "Whoa, that's really great!" And I will give a message. And I will talk to a handful of people afterwards. Just the feedback was like, whoa, I have literally never heard anything about Jesus before. Or I don't even know what the book of Exodus means, if they're coming on Sunday. And it's really crazy to have all of these faith conversations with people who literally don't know about the Bible or about Jesus, but there's this fascination and hunger that somewhere inside all of them, they're thinking there's something more, and I got to find out what that is. And it's crazy that they're coming to our Tuesday night experience. Yeah.
And I will say too, like, even if you just look at like the college age as a whole, like just across the nation and across the world, a shift I've just seen is there's just like a hunger for it to be real. Like they don't want the fluff. They don't want you to package it pretty. Like they want the truth, and they want to encounter the Holy Spirit, even if it makes them uncomfortable or even if they're convicted about like different parts of their life, which is just super encouraging. Yeah.
And with that, what I've seen is that people will come, and I might be ready to give a message that I've prepared, and I'll think like, wow, this is kind of like a heavy hitting message where I can definitely see that people, if they're not all in for Jesus, they're going to be like, I'm gone. A part of me expects people to leave, and not like in a big thing, but Jesus has some pretty controversial stuff that throughout different cultures, most people who aren't on board with Jesus would be like, yeah, I'm out. And what's interesting is that I've seen that if you create an environment where, and we say this, I think every Tuesday night, hey, wherever you're on your faith journey, you don't have to believe to belong. Like you belong here, and we're going to be talking about what it could look like to follow Jesus. And you might disagree with some of the things that we're saying, and we actually think that's a really good thing. So come with your doubts, come with your questions, and experience community. And I just think with the reality of, okay, if I don't know who Jesus is, and I'm hearing this message and this message or these Bible verses that like really contradict different things that I hold to be true, there's a safe place to wrestle with that. And people come back, which is really, really cool to see. And I think the cool thing about what God is doing with our Tuesday night community, there's such like an authentic and rich community. Like with our Connect leaders, their number one job as leaders is to connect with students. They can go to coffee with them if it gets to that, or just say hi to them as they're coming in. And we are just hearing so many new students. They might disagree with the message, but they just feel really connected with. And man, the power of just feeling like you belong, that can change someone's life.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Somebody from my community group actually started in the past year, I think, or 6 months, being a volunteer, I think, with college students. I'm not sure in what way he's particularly connected, but he's like my age, so definitely not young adult or anything like that. But he had talked about how he, just his interactions with students, and it's just been an encouraging thing for him. I think he works on campus, so he already has a lot of college student experience in his daily work, but just so impressed with just kind of how students feel belonging at Tuesday night, and just the sense of connection, and just how important it is, even from a mental health perspective, just that you guys create such a great environment for people to be able to connect with one another and to encounter God in safe ways. So you guys are doing a good job. What is something that you think is challenging about college ministry these days?
Yeah, I think what has been interesting, I'm like 2.5, 3 years into this role of working with college students, and each grade like needs something different. And so it's just like we're constantly having to change our game plan of how to reach students. Like, it's not like what worked 2 years ago is going to work.
Or even last year or last semester.
Yeah.
Like we, like a couple years ago, we're like, oh, games. People love, like when we do a game at the beginning, they want to be funny. They want to have fun. We tried that this semester.
And out of nowhere, just collectively, everyone hated games.
Yeah, they were like,
and didn't
you guys
tell
are
us.
so
They
embarrassing.
changed their mind.
We're like, okay, cool. Same. We don't like games either.
Okay, yeah,
just
super
joking.
embarrassing. Sorry.
We're like, we didn't want to do it.
Yeah, actually, we didn't. No.
Yeah. So I think that is the challenging part of, like, almost in a sense, you can't ever be comfortable with what you're doing, because like grades just change so much of what they're looking for. So Michael and I are constantly trying to have a pulse on like, what do students want? What do students looking for? What connects with them? And I feel like having interns who are like, we have an intern.
Who are students.
Yeah, who are a student, like who are undergrad, grad student, like freshmen, seniors, having people who have a pulse on what the students are looking for, I think has helped us so much in that like quick decision making. Okay, we gotta switch our plan. We can't do what we did last semester. So that's exhausting in a lot of ways.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But I think it does make the job fun. I mean, we're never doing the same thing twice.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I would say just for any leader out there listening, I think just I don't want to say the humility, because we're humble, but I mean in a real way, just deciding to be humble in the sense of saying, okay, I think I know what it looks like to win in this or to achieve. But if you're not really spending time with the people that you're trying to pursue, or, you know, your target audience, or the person that you're trying to market, whatever organization you're a part of, like you have to have open hands and be humble to say, like, what I did even 2 months ago might not be working right now. And to be willing to learn from someone who is younger than you, and you know, who might not have as much experience as you, just to really say like, okay, well, you matter. I want to give you agency, and we're going to really listen and really try to pursue you in the way that you are telling us you need to be pursued. And that could be hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think about things that you guys have said to me where it's like, hey, you're thinking about an idea, but like an intern is like, I don't know. Like, I think we should do this instead. And everything inside of you is like, no, we're not going to do that. And you're like, I'm going to trust you, and we're going to do it. And just, that is huge leadership. I mean, skills of just extending that trust to the people who may, like you said, may not have as much experience as you all, but they have a pulse and a sense of the spirit of how God might be moving. And so I love watching you guys do that. I know it's like, okay, open my hands to other ideas and other ways of doing it. And it really builds the college students, the leaders, the interns that you're working with too. It gives them that courage and that trust in themselves that, oh, God can use me, and I can make decisions. And it's just really cool to see.
Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. And I think the thing that I'll say also is that college student who is an intern, when they kind of say, hey, this is what it could look like to really move towards students, when they get up the courage to say something and we listen, and then we give them platform to be able to do this, not all the time, like not every time does it have success, but a lot of times it does. And when it does have success, we see the interns being like, oh my goodness, wow, this idea that I had actually was right and went well. And not only that, but the outcome was people growing closer to Jesus or getting to know Jesus more. Immediately that intern's going to say like, wow, I have purpose.
Yeah.
And what we've found is that like with this kind of rising generation, purpose is actually more important than payment. Like people do want money. I mean, we all need money to live.
We want somewhere to live and some food. And
yeah, but I think a lot of people, a lot of organizations or churches, perhaps, and I know this is true for me, might put too much value in payment when really people we have one life. And we really want to live a life where we have purpose and where we know, at least for followers of Jesus, that we are using the gifts that he has given us to further and grow his kingdom. When an intern sees that, and we say like, man, you actually have gifts around this. And we're not lying because they can tangibly see there's data behind it. They're like, I'm all in. This is what I want to do. And it's really cool to see.
I love that. I mean, I think it's so important in the Big C church, right? I think so often those of us who used to be college students or used to be right out of college, right? I remember being like, you can trust me with more than what you're giving me, right? And then people did. They trusted me sometimes with what I thought was too much. I was like, are you sure you want me to make this decision? Are you sure? But that's the church working. Yep. And I think so many times those of us who are older think like, oh, those college students, they're kids. They don't, but these people are like building businesses and they are like about to step out, with their senior year, stepping into huge roles in huge companies, really changing the world in so many other areas of life. And so often in the church, it's easy to be like, oh, they're just a little kid, or they don't have the maturity or the wisdom. But that's like so not true. And I think you're just putting it on display of just what how God can move in anybody. And despite sometimes I think the amount of ministry experience we have or the amount of life can sometimes, I mean, a lot of times it's great, gives us wisdom, but it also can make us hard to like the movement of the Spirit, that we're not as open to what God is doing now. And so having kind of this multi-generational leadership in our church is so cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm turning 41 in May, which is kind of crazy, but I
getting to the best years of life.
Best years of life. What up, millennials listening? 1985. Let's go. All right. But I work a lot with obviously college students. I grow so much as a follower of Jesus by watching and listening to students and where they're at. I mean, students even who are just baby Christians, they'll say something or their hunger for Jesus really confronts different apathy in me. And man, you can never stop learning and it doesn't matter the age. So I just think for anyone out there, man, you can learn from anyone at any age regardless. So it's really cool. Like I grow so much through that.
Yeah. And I will say for me, like hands down, my favorite part of my job is seeing people see the potential they actually do have and like seeing interns step into roles where they're like, I'm so nervous, I don't want to do this. And then they do it. And like, I feel like I often actually witness God through how he works through our interns and like changes their lives. And so it's just such a privilege to get to watch what God does in them.
So cool.
Yep.
You guys. Oh, okay, I want to change my job. Can I join the
intern?
college ministry team? Oh, yeah.
Instead of being my boss,
intern,
I'll be your boss.
Yes, I would love that. Let's do that. That's awesome. All right. Well, as we're wrapping up, one of the things for these behind the scenes episodes that we're asking is how can we as a church be praying for you, be praying for the ministry? This is just your time to say whatever you need. We're here to support you guys in prayer.
Yeah, I would say, man, we're talking a lot about interns, which makes sense because it's a lot of what we do, but also we're talking about college students. I would say, like, I've been doing college and young adult ministry for over 10 years now. This is the second church that I've done it at. And truly, I have not seen such a hunger for Jesus and growing for Jesus than I've seen right now. I've never seen so many non-Christians and just really, really young Christians, or I don't even know if I'm a Christian, come on Tuesday nights. It's not about numbers, but like we're growing, and I don't think it's really anything that we're doing. Like God is moving in a really powerful way right now. And I would say we covet prayers around this just really I would say, vulnerable time in a college age person's life where they're making decisions towards Jesus, where just one thing can come that in a way just could maybe topple what God's doing, even though God is God and like his way will. But, we see it all the time. I was having a conversation with someone, and I'll keep it, very general in case they're listening. But they were talking about how they know that the next step is to join a community group, and they're super, super, super new to faith, super new. But there was just like, they described it as an emotional, like, pulling back whenever they thought of going to a community group that didn't make sense. And everything in their mind said, like, I should be going. I have friends here, friends leading it, blah, 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 blah. But there was just this force that was pulling them back. And I had a really great discussion about, what that force could be and what it could look like to take a step. But whether it's a force in the spiritual realm or just any type of force out there, there are things that are pulling students back and pushing them forward. So prayer that they can be pushed forward and that God can protect them and continue to push them. Literally, prayer works.
Yes.
Even if you're like listening right now and you're retired, pray for college students because we are seeing the fruits of your prayer right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So cool.
Yeah, I think for me, just when I think about college ministry, like we were talking about, like I think the community is so rich. It's been so cool to see how God has like grown that specifically through our Connect leaders. But like I just know for me when I was in college, like having people to do life with was so important, and especially like Christian brothers and sisters to do life and like. Because college is hard. It's hard years of your life.
Brutal.
It's brutal. You are trying to figure out who you are. You have tons of decisions in front of you. And for the people who have that Christian community surrounding them, like I can just see how much God is doing in their lives. And I know there's people in our community who still feel like they don't have those people and are like still looking for that community of Christ followers. So I think my prayer, and I would love prayer for this as well, is just that our students would really feel like they find their people at college ministry, and that they would find groups or just that one person even who they just feel safe with and known with. So yeah, that's mine.
Yeah. And with that, people can, I mean, I don't know if people have different biases when it comes to a college student or college age. I know the older that I get, the more I think like, wow, I'm so old and they're so young. They're like kids, and I get that. But I've been doing it long enough to where people who were college students 10, 12 years ago when I was a college pastor, they're leading organizations right now.
Truly.
They're changing the world in big ways.
Yes,
They're
huge ways. Creating culture.
Creating culture, changing things. So they might be a quote unquote college student now, but they like, if a student when they're in college finds Jesus and their life is totally transformed. And I mean, considering UW-Madison alone, like this is one of the most, it's growing to be one of the most like respected and renowned
Number
schools.
2 public university.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's
right?
crazy.
Yeah.
These
Just
are
the amount of influence that these students are do have and are going to continue to have in the world.
Yes.
Business, law, healthcare, all these different fields.
The ripple effects of the transformation that students are experiencing right now that will have on the world. Whoa. Like that's like holy ground.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like whether someone's listening and it's just one prayer that they shoot out, that's like advancing the kingdom work for
really
students.
good.
So yeah.
So good. Well, thank you both for leading our church in this way and for investing your time and your energy and your prayers and probably sometimes your tears into these students and into the work that God is doing. I'm so glad that you chose to join me today to help share how God is at work with our church. So it was fun.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for joining us this week. As always, one thing we want to remind you, if you have questions about the Exodus series that we're working through, we're going to be having a Q&R podcast episode coming up soon. So be sure to send your questions to podcast@blackhawkchurch.org. All right, you guys, we'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Next Steps. Don't forget to check out the show notes for a list of resources if you'd like to keep the conversation going. If you want to learn more about how to get connected at Blackhawk or simply find tools to help you grow, check out blackhawk.church/hub. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and subscribe so you won't miss future episodes. Until next time, let's keep following Jesus.